Plan for today. I'm tired of talking about AI. You guys are tired of talking about AI. I'm going to spend 2 minutes talking about who I am, and then we're going to show some shit. Cool?
Cool.
And then I want this to be interactive. I want to answer questions. I never do the same speech twice. And I look for something to inspire me to talk about something. And you, Miss, your question is the inspiration for the speech today. You asked in the previous panel, what can I do to get started? Right? And that's what we're going to talk about. And if you guys want to move this in a different direction, by all means do so. I love it when this is interactive. I really, really do. If you stump me, I have to build you something for free. That's the rule. Okay? So really try to go for it. I want this to become a whole thing. Let me get this up on the screen. Why isn't it showing? Oh, because I didn't hit the button to switch it back. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and Insight Automation, and then we're really going to get into it, just some stuff. So I was a traditional software developer most of my career. I ran one of the Mid-Atlantic's largest commercial consulting firms for quite a few years. I broke off in 2018 to start Insight Automation to help people use the software they already own. I partnered with great firms like Zog that know how to bring in great partners and work with them to give the best advice and work to their clients. That's my office building in Baltimore City. I was really, really proud when I bought my own building right on the water and I had my whole staff there. It was really, really a big deal for me. And I said, I want the building to be all brick, right? I want it to be completely brick all the way through. And I was really, really happy when we got our building. And I said, I want it to be completely brick. And they said, sir, this is covered in lead paint. And I said, like I said, emblazon our logo on the building. Really, really bright. Just cover it up with more paint. It's going to be fine. And then they finished painting the building. And I saw my logo there. And I was so happy. And I just stood there and I admired it on the building. And then this guy walked up. This is a true story. I don't know why I'm telling you right now, but I'm in a mood. I'm trying to wake you all up. And I saw my logo and he said, is that your building? And I said, yeah. They were like just finishing up painting it. And he said, how come your logo is a prison shot tower?
Huh.
And now that's all I can see is a prison shot tower every time I look at my logo. It's completely what it looks like. I was like, no, it's an eye and there's like lines. And it's like, but just finish painting it on a building. And he's like, I can't unsee it now. And now none of you can unsee that. And that was the purpose of what I was trying to do. Preston mentioned pinball. In my office building is the second most valuable pinball collection in Maryland. The building is emblazoned with pinball machines everywhere. I was the Maryland, Virginia, DC pinball champion in 2025. Not in 2026. I am not bitter about it. This woman named Meredith beat me. She's really, really good. I'm going to get my title back next year. I'm also known for repairing and fixing pinball machines. This is one of the ones in my collection. I will strip this back down to bare wood, resand it, and bring it back together again. I've been written up about like doing that for a lot of places, but I am a national pinball champion. Really? Screen? There we go. So that's my other hobby. The reason I like pinball, and then we're going to get into stuff, is there's no medium that I'm aware of that requires more of your brain. You have to know art. You have to make music. You have to write code. You have to understand mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, physics. There's so many different mediums that you have to get into to do it. And that's why I love it, because I have to use every part of my brain when I'm making a machine or repairing a machine. It's really, really wonderful, right? I started my company to focus on using tools that we all already own. We got attention from Microsoft. They audited our work for a big chain of casinos, and we got the highest audit score ever received. Then they started nationally recommending us to huge companies around the country. I can name drop lots of places like the NFL and this is that we build apps for. It's incredible. We also work with a lot of MSPs that have small organizations, 5, 10, 20-person companies across all verticals. So we've gotten really good at doing, helping people with both. I want to talk about real things that you guys can use when you leave this room. Show of hands, how many organizations Office 365 places? Or people not paying attention? Okay, that's most of the room. G Suite people, raise your hands. Be proud. I like the G Suite. It's good. Oh, there's a good number. Okay, we'll talk about both. Okay, I'm going to talk about both. Anybody not one of those two? Because I want to hear. That's weird. Okay, no, okay. Okay, good. Um, So I'm going to focus a little bit on the Microsoft side because there's more in the room there, but I'm going to talk about non-Microsoft options as well. Here's the first thing you guys need to know before you start getting into AI. You got to have a database, okay? If you keep your data in a sheet, you're going to run into issues. That's the first thing. And what do I mean by a sheet? I mean Excel, I mean Smartsheet, I mean Monday.com, I mean Google Sheet. It's all bullshit. You cannot use those to run your business. And why do I say that to you? I've seen people on stages pull up Excel, right? And say, look what I'm typing into AI, blah, 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 and look, it made all these charts and graphs, and look how cool this was. Have you guys seen those? You've seen those like presentations? And then I go like this. And I say, did you explain to the AI how the data on tab 1 relates to the data on tab 2? No, I did not. Did you explain to the AI how cost of goods sold is calculated in this organization? No, I did not. Oh, so the AI is just making a ton of assumptions about what all this data means and how it's all interconnected? I guess so. Did you verify that any of this data is correct? No, I did not. Okay. A true database is not a bunch of sheets. A true database has something called referential integrity. It explains how the relationship between data matters, okay? I'll give you an example since we're here. Here we go. We'll do a nonprofit. The National Aquarium in Baltimore, is a customer of ours. We trained it to teach it across all their data sources. A donor has one or many donations, right? These fields are money, show them a lot. This is how money is calculated. An employer has employees that come to events. How each of those things relates matters. And if you train a system in how all the data relates, then you can have interesting conversations with it. So let's see here. Show a map of donors. The National Aquarium. Cool. Show me average. I didn't spell it right, but who cares? Donation, amount, by month. Not magic. It's because I explained to the system how all the data relates, and you cannot do that in a spreadsheet. Okay? Those of you who try to build AI against Excel or Google Sheets is going to run into trouble really fast. That is the core of where you have to start this journey of getting your data into a system. Dustin, is QuickBooks a database? Yes. Is Salesforce a database? Yes. These products go beyond being a sheet. There's relationships between the data. I do not care what database you are in, but you have to be in one. Questions before I move on from that? Okay, good. We've got all our data in the databases now. Next place I want you to start, if you're in the Office 365 suite, you're going to start with Power Automate. If you are not in the Microsoft Office 365 suite, go buy Zapier. It's just as good. There's differences between them. They're both awesome. I'm going to type into this box. Who are we going to pick on? Let's see, who are we going to pick on my staff? We're going to pick on Laura Gretz. Laura's my CTO. That's Laura. All right, everybody. So we're going to write a Power Automate flow in this box. You all own Power Automate, by the way. If you don't know, if you're in Office 365, it just comes with it. You go to make.powerautomate.com. You click the little dots up there in the corner. They're called the waffle. And you can go there. Whenever I get an email, send Laura Gretz a Teams message that says, booyah. Perfect. I get about 500 to about 1,000 emails a day. Oh, good. She's messaging me now. And now we have made a Power Automate flow. Whenever I get an email, send Laura Gretz a Teams message that says that. Because she wrote that message, I can't get to the start bar. Thank you. And there it is. Post a message to Laura. Booyah. It wrote that for me, right? AI helped me write that Power Automate flow. If you click on this list, there was a trigger whenever I get an email and then an action. If you look at this list of actions, if I type into here, Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, Google Tasks. If I type into here, Salesforce will pop up. ADP. If I type in the word sign, Adobe Sign, DocuSign, HelloSign, Signing Hub, all the signature tools come up. You want to hear my favorite automation that we have at my company? We bill by the hour. We have timesheets. People love filling out timesheets at my company. No, they don't. And so we have a Power Automate flow that runs every Friday at 7 p.m. It sends my staff an email. Hey, submit your timesheet. It checks through each staff member. The trigger is 7 p.m. every Friday. And if they do not submit a timesheet by Saturday morning at 9 a.m., it sends a text message. Hey, submit your timesheet. And if you do not submit your timesheet by 10 a.m., you get a text message every 60 seconds from rolling phone numbers. And we don't have a problem with people submitting timesheets anymore. It's great. That's how we do it. And we use this tool as the means to do that. Why am I bringing up this tool first? Because I have a challenge for all of you. I've been doing that side of the room. Screw them. We'll talk over here. I want you to use this tool or Zapier to get 1 or 2 hours back in your week as the business owner. And then I want you to take that 1 or 2 hours and I want you to promise me that you're not going to use it in the business. You are going to use it on the business. And if you do that, you will make that 2 hours 4 hours, and you will make that 4 hours 8 hours, right? That's how you make progress. That's how you get started, okay? Build something small with this. That's where you start with AI and automation. And if you could just get that time back, you can start moving it from there, right? Because it creeps up on us. When I started my company and it was just me and 2 other people, invoices would take me 20 minutes on Friday. And then it took me 2 hours. And then it took me, it happens so slowly, you forget. You have no idea how often I talk to COOs of 30 to 40 person companies, and they all have that spreadsheet. I can have a coffee table book of matching resources and people to projects and work. And I say to them, how long do you spend in that spreadsheet? And then they say 4 hours. They're not lying to me or themselves. That's what they think. And I go, cool. But how long do you actually fucking spend in that spreadsheet? 8 hours. And I go, great. How long do you spend in that spreadsheet? 20 hours. That sounds about right, right? You can tell by looking at that spreadsheet. That's what we all do. You've got to start breaking it down. And so we hear a lot about how you can use AI to replace everybody and everything. No, start small, okay? Use this as a tool. Do something small with it. That's how you start making progress. Yeah.
So, like we mentioned Salesforce. So, are you setting up, giving it access to software?
Yes. So you can integrate it, use your account on its behalf, make a service account is my recommendation to you. When you are picking your database, there's a feature I want you to choose based on, and it's one that you'll never think of, and it's the most important feature. I want you to pick an enterprise system, and what I mean by that is I want you to pick a technology that has a dev and a test and a prod. The developers in the room know what that means. Many of you may not. What I mean by that is when you build something in Monday, if you want to change it later, everybody stay out of the system on Friday after lunch. I got to make changes. Okay? Because you got to do it while the plane is in the air. I want you to pick a technology that gives you a development area that you can fuck up. And then you can take your changes and then you move it to test. And then you can make it from test to production. As you scale your business, that's going to be critical. Okay, that you have that. And if you don't pick a tool that has it, it's not a feature you think of or ask, it's not a sexy feature, but it's so important as you grow and change that you have that. Okay. And I don't care which one you pick, but when people say to me, why should I buy like a Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics? It's twice the price of like a Zoho. Because Zoho's not very good at that yet. They're working on that feature, but like they don't have that feature as well thought out as those others. That's a really important feature. You know, all the pretty stuff doesn't matter compared to that for me. I showed in Power Automate how I can use AI to start learning how to work with this tool. I challenge you to do the same. It's not always going to get there. I picked an easy example because I don't want to fuck up in the room. You can also use AI inside of it. Whenever I get an email with an invoice, take the data out of the invoice and read it into the system. And then send it to Bob if it's over $5,000 for approval. And then if it's approved, throw it into QuickBooks, right? You can use its AI capabilities to read emails, to read documents that come in. Again, these are tools that you already have. Here is an example. Whenever we get an invoice, throw the invoice into SharePoint, read all the details out, notify people to come and to approve the invoice. And we'll make sure we've got all the data on the side of the screen. and then they can approve it, and then it's shuttled over to SAP, their accounting system, right? We're using SharePoint, we're using Power Automate, we're using Power Apps to build a system using the tools you already own to do that, right? That's how we start making progress using the tools that we have today. You can do a lot with Power Automate. Let's talk about the next level up. Dustin, should we use Claude? Should we use ChatGPT? Should we use Grok? No, you shouldn't use any of them. Somebody used a horse analogy earlier. That's absolutely accurate. I would say Claude is the best today. Next month, I have no idea, right? They keep leapfrogging each other. I do not want you going all in on any of them. I want you to pick an aggregator. And I'm sorry, but I'm not a big fan, hot take, of industry-specific purpose-built tools. I do not want you to have 7 AIs. I want you to pick something that's in your ecosystem. Some others parroted that as well. If you're in Microsoft land, I'm going to show you Copilot Studio, which is not Copilot. Copilot sucks. But Copilot Studio is different. You heard a couple of people talk about that. If you're not in Microsoft land, look at Perplexity. It's also an aggregator. I'm going to explain what I mean by an aggregator as we go. So here's how Copilot Studio works. Copilot Studio is not $30 a month per user. It is 4 to 8 cents per message. Okay, it's consumption based. So your whole staff can use it. You're buying one AI. You've heard other people talk today on panels about how you don't want shadow AI. You don't want people buying it. I don't want 20 different people buying different licenses for Claude in your organization. It's like all of you keeping your files on your laptops, right? No, you have a file server, you have Dropbox, you have SharePoint, you have something to put your stuff in that's enterprise-wide. I want that for your AI as well. I had a CEO last week I was talking to, and she said, Dustin, you can't take ChatGPT away from me. I've been training it for 2 years. And I said, Beth, that's the problem. You have been training your personal copy for 2 years, and no one else in your organization has any value from all of that work other than you. Right? I need an enterprise AI. One AI for the horse. It's cheaper, it's better, it's easier to secure. And if you don't start bringing some enterprise level AI in, they're going to go shadow and get stuff on their own. Knowledge lets you bring data into the AI agent you're building. Data from where? From, I don't care, from Salesforce, from Microsoft, from all the tools you use. You can bring your data into this platform, okay? Across everything, Microsoft or not. When I first brought in all the data in my company, I brought in everything. It was day 2 that one of my staff, her name is Devin, she said, how does my salary compare to everyone else's? And it gladly told her, did a great job. Yeah. We'll talk about security if you guys want in a little bit, but yes, that does happen. So I don't want you to think that I'm not taking security seriously. I work with a lot of healthcare organizations, federal government. It is really important. Knowledge brings data in. Tools pushes it out. Okay. You can teach this AI to hyper specifically update things that you demand. You're not allowed to go whole hog into Asana, which we use, but you are allowed to update the project status. I want you to write a document. I don't like it when AIs write documents personally. It's not the same enough for me. I like to use a nice Word template. Okay. AI, you can write the first page where we talk about the customer. Here is a fun trick that I've learned. If you write the first page about the company and how great they are about 15% more likely to sign with you. Always make the first page of your proposal about how great Roosevelt Paper is. And they've been around for 100 years and they're doing their thing. And then, right, like you do the whole first page and I wouldn't write a word of it. I would let it just go whole hog and like do a whole thing about that, right? That's what I was doing mine, but I have a section in a pre-made Word template to do that. I have areas where you're allowed to write. I don't have it write the whole document. I have it write in certain sections in certain places, and I keep it bound with Word documents. It's my take, okay? You can also do, some of you may have heard of like Claude Cowork, which is the ability to say, AI, I want you to open this website, type into this field the following data, and then go get me the total water bill amount. You can have an AI do things on your behalf on a desktop in a web browser. This feature is useful when not used in high volume. It is punishingly expensive and outrageously slow, but it does work really, really well. Oh, the suspense of watching it do one of these. It takes it forever. It's actually building a computer, like virtually right now, standing one up, hydrating it. There it is. There's the computer. Oh, what do we have to do first? I'll help you check for the water bill. First, you got to open a web browser. Come on, little AI, you can do it. We believe in you. Open that web browser. This is how fast it always runs, by the way. I'm not like making excuses. Oh, yay! It made it to the website. Okay, now you got to type into that service address box the address of the place. We believe in you. You can do it. I've never done this on stage before. This is the first time I've ever done Claude Cowork on stage. Yay! It typed it in, and then it's gonna search. We would have been done now if we did this as humans, right? And now it's going there. You ready for the crazy part of this? Every click was 20 cents. Woo! Right? But it got there. And it did it. Right? And it got that for me. I couldn't use this. And this whole thing that I just did cost me about $1.80. I'm sending a bill to Preston. Don't worry. But yeah, that's how long it took it to get that. And it's showing the bill amounts. And now you all know that I'm up on my water bill. So there you go. That's how that piece works. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm done testing that. So you can use that piece as well. Knowledge brings data in. Tools pushes data out, either through APIs. APIs are how programs talk behind the scenes, or through something like this. Topics gets interesting. Pay attention to this piece. Topics let you put the AI on guardrails. If I ask anything about placing an order, then you say, I'm happy to help you place an order. Then you say, what state are you shipping to? And if I say California, Washington, or Oregon, then do this. But if I say any other state, then ask this. Then do this, then check that. Okay? So you can teach the AI to give a nice, consistent result, either internally or externally for your organization. I want to place an order for a client. Sure thing, Dustin. What's the client's name? Acme, Roosevelt Paper. Sure. I looked them up. They're not in the system. Do you want me to add them? Yes, please add them. What's the rate? $2.25 an hour. Okay. Make an AI advisory for them and put it in Teams. Thank you so much. It gives me the certain questions in the order and then generates things using a combination of Power Automate, which you saw earlier, right? And what I just showed you there. That's how I put the AI on guardrails to do what I need and how I need it to do it. Knowledge brings data in, tools pushes it out, topics keeps it on guardrails. We're still not to the good part. Pay attention. Channels, now that I built it, put it over top of mediocre Copilot. So what I just built shows up in Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Outlook and Teams and all the shit I use. Okay? Put it into SharePoint. So maybe I can stand it for a minute. Put it into Salesforce. Put it into our phone system. It's terrifying. Call my line. Put it into email. Put it onto our website. Put it into all of the above. Deploy what I've built. Knowledge brings data in. Tools pushes out. Topics is guardrails. Channels lets me deploy. Here's the best part. I started this by saying it is an aggregator. If you like Claude, use Claude. If you like ChatGPT, use ChatGPT. If you like Grok, use Grok. You change one drop down and you're switching between them. Perplexity can do this. Copilot Studio can do this. Very few products can give you this ability. So as they leapfrog each other, you have the ability to change the system and experiment with them with one drop down. You trained all that other stuff we talked about, and now you're playing with this. Okay? Make sense? Yes, sometimes. I'm using some of the out-of-the-box ones sometimes, or I'm building my own. Both options are available to you, right? AI does not work well with large data sets. When I start showing you some stories and telling examples, okay, I never do across all of our customers, show me trends. That's business intelligence. That's reporting. That's not a good use case. For this customer, for this employee, for yesterday, you've got to keep the data set small. I get a lot of people. We're SharePoint experts as well, and people say, Dustin, I don't like the search. I want to use AI for as a better search engine. I say, great. Every time you have a question, we'll just have the AI for that particular context read 80 gigabytes of documents. It'll only cost you a few $1,000s per search. It'll be fine. It'll take a while. That's not a good use case for AI. It's not a freaking search engine, right? You have to keep your use case small, right, for this to work. I will tell you that I haven't read all of our Teams messages and emails and everything, and I will say, while I'm out on the road, like today, what's the general mood of the staff based on their chats? Everyone's in pretty good spirits, but they're worried about this one deadline. Oh, for who? And that's how I check up in the office. It's pretty wild. Yeah, it's scary. Is that for you? Yeah, you should be. You're absolutely right to be. I used to do this demo with my COO, where I would say, "What's the latest for my COO, Erin Lamartina, based on her chats, emails, and files?" Yeah, that's scary. And it would do that, right? Um, Here's a practical use case of a way that we use this in a day-to-day basis beyond what I've talked about so far. I'm going to give you a couple examples. I know we're all waiting with bated breath here. I had a kickoff meeting with a client, Hercules Fence, and you're not going to believe this, but the AI summarized the meeting. Wow. I know you've all seen that before. It's not that big of a deal. It summarized the meeting. Great. But then it made a list of action items of each person and who's supposed to do what. Mind you, not each of these people was logged into the call. They were in a group setting, right? What are the tasks? Note it's in a table. Remember we talked about databases, right? And then at the end of this, it said, these are the decisions and design directions. These are the risks to watch out for. These are the references that were brought up. Hey, Dustin, if you'd like, I can paste this into ClickUp. ClickUp is our project management software, and send an email out to the group with whatever things do and when and how and yada, yada, yada. Because that's how I want it, right? I've hooked this up to my systems. It's not just summarizing. It's saying, great, I'm going to send the following follow-ups. I'm going to put these tasks into the task management system. I'm going to take care of all of that busy work for you, right? My favorite automation that I built that's easy to explain to an audience, I built with my daughter when she was 8. She was feeling saucy that day, and she came to me with a big smile and she said, "Dad, Mom is gone all day. I have a great idea." And I said, "What is it, honey?" And she said, "We're going to watch Frozen and Frozen 2 back to back." And I said, "You know how to live. Let's do this." Right. So that's what we did. And I've already seen Frozen 2, wonderful movies. I'm sure you'll all agree. I did not necessarily want to watch them all the way back to back. So while we watched, I had my laptop out, this exact laptop, and I built this. This is every employee I have in SharePoint here, right? I'm about to make an offer to Caitlin. Let's all hope that she signs. Okay. I built a Power Automate flow that I was showing you earlier. Generate employment agreement. Power Automate slides out from the side of the screen. Hey, Dustin, how much are you going to pay her? How many vacation days does she get? What's her personal email address? Would you like me to prepare this for e-signature and auto send? Yes, I sure would. It generates all of her documents. It puts it in that folder. It sends her an employment agreement. If she signs it, it puts the signed copy in the folder. It creates her Office 365 account. It generates all of her licensing. It puts her in her HRS system. It puts a task on my calendar to buy her a laptop. It sends her a welcome packet. All of the tasks that we would do by hand are being done using the tools I already own. Right? That saved me so much time. Onboarding customers, offboarding customers, starting new projects. What are the steps you're doing? How are you going to use these tools to start making progress on that? Okay. We have 6.5 minutes. No one has stumped me. Somebody. This is your chance. I can keep going. I can show a bunch of cool stuff. Did this help? You can say no. What are my feelings?
Trying to wrap my head around. So
Start at Power Automate.
Okay, so you say this is stuff you already own, presuming that you're in the 365 environment.
If you're not, then go with Zapier. But yes.
We are.
Yeah.
So what you've shown us so far, primarily, is Microsoft.
Because most of the room was that. Yeah.
Right. So you did Power Automate, and you did Copilot Studio, and that.
That was where that's not all the things, but I had 30 minutes. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
But the AI summarized the meeting. Wow. I know you've all seen that before. It's not that big of a deal. It summarized the meeting. Great. But then it made a list of action items of each person and who's supposed to do what. Mind you, not each of these people was logged into the call. They were in a group setting, right? What are the tasks? Note it's in a table. Remember we talked about databases, right? And then at the end of this, it said, these are the decisions and design directions. These are the risks to watch out for. These are the references that were brought up. Hey, Dustin, if you'd like, I can paste this into ClickUp. ClickUp is our project management software, and send an email out to the group with whatever things do and when and how and yada, yada, yada. Because that's how I want it, right? I've hooked this up to my systems. It's not just summarizing and saying, great, I'm going to send the following follow-ups. I'm going to put these tasks into the task management system. I'm going to take care of all of that busy work for you. Right? My favorite automation that I built that's easy to explain to an audience, I built with my daughter when she was 8. She was feeling saucy that day, and she came to me with a big smile and she said, Dad, Mom is gone all day. I have a great idea. And I said, what is it, honey? And she said, we're going to watch Frozen and Frozen 2 back to back. And I said, you know how to live. Let's do this, right? So that's what we did. And I've already seen Frozen 2, wonderful movies. I'm sure you'll all agree. I did not necessarily want to watch them all the way back to back. So while we watched, I had my laptop out, this exact laptop, and I built this. This is every employee I have in SharePoint here, right? I'm about to make an offer to Caitlin. Let's all hope that she signs, okay? I built a Power Automate flow that I was showing you earlier. Generate employment agreement. Power Automate slides out from the side of the screen. Hey, Dustin, how much are you going to pay her? How many vacation days does she get? What's her personal email address? Would you like me to prepare this for e-signature and auto send? Yes, I sure would. It generates all of her documents. It puts it in that folder. It sends her an employment agreement. If she signs it, it puts the signed copy in the folder. It creates her Office 365 account. It generates all of her licensing. It puts her in her HRIS system. It puts a task in my calendar to buy her a laptop. It starts her a welcome packet. All of the tasks that we would do by hand are being done using the tools I already have. Right? That saved me so much time. Onboarding customers, offboarding customers, starting new projects. What are the steps you're doing? How are you going to use these tools to start making progress on that? Okay. We have 6.5 minutes. No one has stumped me. Somebody, this is your chance. I can keep going. I can show a bunch of cool stuff. Did this help? Those are the 2 things I showed today, right? And the database that I use is Power Apps. Power BI I showed briefly, Power Automate, Power Apps. Why? Because you own it. You don't know how to build something with Power Apps? Good. Nobody but me does. You can, again, type into here. Blah, 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 blah. I need somewhere to type. Hold on. I want a database for people to check out equipment and get reminders to check it back in. Okay? This is vibe coding. Vibe coding is like self-driving cars. It kind of works, but keep your hands on the wheel and you still have to drive the car. It's not ready for prime time, but it will teach you about the tools that you own, just as I was talking about with Power Automate, right? And you can see what it's picking. Oh, boo. Don't be like that. It will, well, this is the fun part of live demos, right? You still have this though, that's the point. Power Apps as well. And you can build a real database using these tools and see the clues of how it's working, like talking, interacting with the software. That's the last piece I'll mention, right? But these are all things you have. Yes.
On knowledge or get a knowledge base, that's why then drop down and get Salesforce or that.
Mm-hmm.
If the
You're saying in the knowledge base, you could pick non-Microsoft things like Salesforce. Yes.
So if you have one that's not on the list, for example, constant contact CRM, as long as it has an API.
As long as it has an API, for those of you who don't know, APIs are how programs talk behind the scenes. If there's an API, there's a good chance. Not all APIs are created equal. Some are better than others. But yes, if there's an API, there's a good chance that this will work. Yes, I promise.
How me, okay, once the bill's coming in, and you're gonna send it to your colleague, but it opens up to see what it is. What happens if you just launch malware on your system malware or send malware to your colleague if it's attachments full of malware, not sure if it's a good bill or not.
The AI side is not met. So the question was, what happens if we send around a PDF that's full of malware? Is that a good summary? Yeah. It's not the AI's job to stop that. It's the other tools that Zog provides. You know what I mean? It can recommend to help with that sort of thing. So it's a good question, but nothing I'm showing is going to help with that problem. There's certainly lots of ways to help with it, for sure. Yes.
Talk about large data.
Yes.
Bad.
Well, they're not bad.
Well,
They're just AI's bad at them.
well-
The question was, you talked about large databases and they're bad at that. Yeah.
So that's SMD,
Okay.
where, well, let me,
Uh-huh.
we need to we have a database that we use to process a daily file that comes in from the government.
He has a system that processes files. Yes.
So we process it.
You process
So
it.
the data that, from that activity,
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to put in to get analytical information on it. But if it's growing, if it has historical data from the government, that's historical data for what we do. Now I'm going to throw in another database that we want to integrate into that with the government that's got an API. We're using JSON files from the platform we currently in
Mm-hmm.
and trying to figure out how to integrate.
So he's talking about, he's got multiple systems that have a lot of data. It's not that AI can't handle that. It just can't handle it all at once, right?
Now that's for the cost factor.
And then the cost factor, even as long as all the data isn't being trying to feed into the system all in one shot, you'll be okay. I don't have an exact example, but here's one that you guys might find interesting. This is the Electrical Welfare Trust Fund. This is just out on the internet. And all the electricians in America have a member benefit file for insurance and financials and things like that. And all the chapters across the country have to send in their member benefit file once a month. And there's 3 people whose job it is just to process those files, right? There's CSV files, Excel files, stuff like that. And so these people would have to constantly say, email them back, I can't process your file because you wrote F name and you're supposed to write first name in the column header. No, you put a date where the name should be. The date's not in the right format, like all that sort of stuff, right? And so now they have Copilot Studio. Please tell me who you are. I want to upload a file for processing. Sure thing. Tell us your code. I'm ready for your file. It looks at a sample file and goes, I can't process that file because you put a date where the name should be. Would you like me to fix that for you? Would you like to upload it again? It works with them. It took me hours to build that for them. I was very angry. I originally quoted them like 20K. And then when my staff was like, we could use AI to do it, I'm like, damn it, Parker. My kids are in private school. This isn't good. But it worked really well. And they love it. You know what I mean? So there's a case of putting that out there. In our case, we always try to slipstream data in. You want me to keep going with questions? Are you guys good? Yes.
Adam's Family or Twilight Zone?
Ooh, depends on my mood. He saw I have Adam's Family in the Twilight Zone. For those who don't know, Adam's Family is the #1 selling pinball machine of all time to this day.
Wow.
Okay. And the guy who made it, it was such a huge success. They said to him, you get a blank check, Mr. Spielberg. You can make whatever you want. And so right after he made the Twilight Zone, which was the most complicated, most expensive pinball machine ever made. I have both in my collection. Twilight Zone. Yeah. Do you have one? Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about? I would go Twilight Zone if I only could have one of the two, but I will always have both. Yes.
Can you fix his Twilight Zone?
I actually could. I'm really good at that. I rebuilt it.
Because the grandkids are coming over.
Yeah, mine has no dots on the screen. No dot. Like it's perfect.
No dot.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Anything else? Nobody stopped me. Okay, yay. I'm building thing for free. Thank you all. If you guys want to ever talk further, I'll be over there. This was super fun. Thank you all so much.